Hello, I welcome you all to my channel Sing Rajnikant Official. So today in this poem we are going to learn 9 gold medals, which is the poem written by David Roth. So this poem itself says that this particular poem is based upon some event as it is given as the 9 gold medals. So let us begin this poem. We will come to know what is the special in this poem. 9 gold medals. It is also called a special Olympic poem. It is particularly based on the special Olympics as it describes about a special Olympic event. Let us begin. The athletes had come from so many countries. Okay, so first line says that the athletes or the person who are taking part in the event had come from so many countries, which means from different countries the to run for the gold, for silver and bronze. So what is gold, silver and bronze? Gold medal, silver medal and bronze medal. So first is that the athletes had come from so many countries to run for what gold, silver and bronze. Many weeks and months in training, all building up to the games. So the athletes had come from so many countries to run for gold, silver and bronze medal. They have spent month, they have spent weeks, many months in training. For what they are training? Building up to the games. Building up to the games means the game is coming nearer. जो event है वो बहुत नजदीक आ रहा है. The event is coming so nearer, so they are building up means preparing themselves, so they are making a strong themselves. Building means creating themselves, making ready for what? For the event, for the Olympics. This is what the first stanza says. Second, all round the field spectators were gathered. So all around the field, who were gathered? Spectators. Who are the spectators? The people or the audience who are watching the event. They are referred as spectators, cheering on all the young women and men. So who are taking part? Not only men but also women. Then the final event of the day was approaching. So from this, the final event of the day was approaching. Final event of the day means that particular Olympics final event, the last event of that day was approaching, means was about to begin. The last race was about to begin. So this was said in the second stanza that all around the fields who were gathered, spectators were gathered for what? They were cheering all the young women and men. And the final event of the day was approaching, which means the race was about to begin. बस दिन का जो अंतिम इवेंट, फाइनल अंतिम इवेंट था, वो क्या था? द रेस, वो जो था बहुत जल्दी क्या होने वाला था? शुरू, स्टार्ट. द इट वाज अबाउट टू बिगिन. The loudspeakers called out the names of the runners. Who are the runners? The young women and men who are participating in the event. They are referred as runners. So who called out their names? The loudspeakers called out their names. The 100-meter, the race to be run. So they were the last event, final event of the day was approaching, which means the last race was about to begin. So what we see in the second stanza that all around the field spectators were gathered. They were cheering all the young women and men, and they had been about to see the final event of the day, and it was about to begin. Okay, so the loudspeaker called out the names of the runners. Who called the name of the runners? Loudspeaker. Who are the runners? The 9 young athletes who were taking part in the 100-meter race. See down, the 100-meter race was about to run. So what was the final event of the day? Final race, what was that? 100-meter race. And 9 young athletes stood there determined. So now can you link with the topic? 9 young gold medals, 9 young athletes. So 9 young athletes, they were determined and positioned ready for what? for the sound of the gun. So what is the use of gun here? When the gun, they will hear the sound of the gun, it means that the signal is given and they will start to run. So the signal was finally given, the pistol exploded, and so did the runners on hearing the sound. So sorry, the signal was given when the person who green signal was given for the race to start. The pistol exploded. The person who has the pistol, he fired the pistol and given the signal, and so did the runners on hearing the sound. What runner has to do on hearing the sound? They have to start running the race. So they did what after the hearing the sound, but see the twist. The youngest among them stumbled and staggered, and he fell on his knees to the ground. So what was the problem arised here? That all the nines were ready to run, they started to run, but the youngest among all the nine athletes, he stumbled and staggered. It means stumble and staggered means he fell down on his knees to the ground. On his knees to the ground, which means what? It means that in Hindi we say that घुटनों के बल गिरना. So that is on, he fell on his knees to the ground. Okay. So last stanza of this page is that he gave out a cry of frustration and anguish. He gave out. What does he refers to? So he refers to the youngest athlete who has fallen down on the ground. So he gave out a cry of, what cry? To frustration and anguish. What is the frustration meaning? Angry. What is the meaning of anguish? Pain. So he cried out of angry. So anguish means pain. So the youngest athlete gave out a cry of frustration and pain. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt, broke. So what happened when he fell down? His dreams and efforts. What is the dream? His dream was to win gold medal for his country. He wanted to win gold medal, and his efforts, what the hard works he has done, all vanished, was broken down, dashed. His dreams and his efforts dashed, but as sure as I am standing here telling the story, now it's a strange one, but here is what occurred. So now I am standing here. I am refers to whom? To the poet of the story poem, David Roth, and he said that it is a different thing that has occurred. So let us begin the next stanza. The eight other athletes stopped in their track. So why it is referred at eight other athletes? As we know that total nine athletes were running the race, but the youngest or one of them has fallen down. So how many athletes left? Nine minus one. Eight athletes were remaining who were running on the track. So suddenly what happened? All the eight athletes stopped on their in their track. The ones who had trained for so long to compete, they were the runners who had worked so long time. They have worked so hard for what? To compete, to take part in the event, to run in the event, to take competition in the event and win the gold medal for their country, respective countries. One by one they turned around and came back to him and lifted the lad to his feet. Lad refers to a small boy. Right. So one by one all the eight athletes came near him and stood and lifted this small boy in their feet. So next, then all nine runners joined their hands and continued. What they did first, all the eight runners who were running on the track, they returned back one by one. They lifted this boy to their feet, and then all the nine runners now they have gathered with the young youngest athlete. So they were now how many? Total nine runners. They were joining their hands and continuing. The 100-meter race reduced to a walk. How it reduced to a walk? Because they were joining their hands and simply walking. So this race reduced in a walk. So and the banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been nearer the mark. So what is the meaning here? That they were holding one banner which was written as Special Olympics, and that banner could not have been nearer the mark. So they were going, and it is very far. They were beginning from the mark, starting, and they could. So next last stanza is that's how the race ended with 9 gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still and the banner above and 9 smiling faces. So how the race ended? That's what how the race ended. How it ended? They all runners, 9 runners, they joined their hands. They reduced the 100-meter race into a walk, and with the 9 athletes were there. So with 9 gold medals, they came to the finishing line, holding their hands still. What were they still holding? They were still holding their hands, and the banner above. So what was written on the banner? Special Olympics was written on the banner, and the banner above and 9 smiling faces. All the 9 athletes were smiling and they were happy. This shows that the true spirit of sportsmanship, that they helped each other. They did not thought of winning themselves, but they thought of that youngest athlete who has determined and worked hard for the event. So they all returned back and helped him, and finally all the 9 runners stood first, and they all got 9 gold medals. And their smiling faces said more than these words will ever say, or said more than these words ever will. So what they are saying that these 9 faces said more than the words will ever say. So with this our poem got over. Thank